Welcome to how to program and operate the Icom ID-880H amateur radio transceiver. This is a tutorial for new hams, hams with a new-to-them radio, hams with an Icom radio, or anyone interested in amateur radio. I'm Milt Reynolds, KJ7, PPX in Boise, Idaho, calling QST. In the previous episode, we looked at two front panel buttons that control the D-Star digital voice capability of the ID-880H. DR, D-Star repeater selection, and CS, D-Star call sign selection. We also looked at the four essential call sign commands required to access and retransmit a signal. Originator is MONI, repeater 1, RPT1, repeater 2, RPT2, and destination, UR. And we demonstrated how to program the ID-880H for the one essential D-Star call sign, the MI call sign. Here's a quick review of programming MI call sign. Tap Menu, rotate the dial to Call S, tap MONI. Rotate the dial to MI, tap MONI. Tap Low to add your call sign. Dial to the first character of your call sign, tap Low. Repeat to enter your full call sign. When finished, tap MONI to save the changes, and tap Menu to exit. Programming the MI call sign provides an automatic "This is me" transmission of your call sign as required by the FCC. It also allows easy contact with specific D-Star stations and networks worldwide. Listening to D-Star digital voice communications. After programming MI call sign, the easiest way to appreciate D-Star is to listen to some digital voice traffic. First, tune to any VHF or UHF frequency. As demonstration, I'll tune to the UHF frequency band. Tap VFO to enable variable frequency operation mode. Dial to 440.000. Next, use DR to enable D-Star repeater mode. Long press DR. The display indicates DV and CQCQCQ. Tap DR to exit this CQ screen. The display still indicates DV mode. Now, scan for traffic. Long press VFO, dial to band, tap VFO. The display indicates scanning up through the frequencies. The scanner may pause often, but only very briefly and without any audible signal. I think there may be many intermittent or stray digital signals being transmitted from all directions at all time. When a definite digital voice signal is detected, the scanner will pause. The display will indicate the sender's call sign, and there will be, or maybe not, an audible voice message. Tap VFO to stop scanning and make a note of that frequency. Depending upon your location, digital voice communications in the VHF or UHF frequency bands may be quite busy or quite slow. This afternoon at about 3 o'clock p.m., I scanned for about 30 minutes before the scanner detected an audible signal. Listening to a nearby D-Star repeater. If you tire of scanning empty airwaves, try tuning to a local D-Star repeater. A good place to locate a nearby D-Star internet-capable gateway repeater station is dstarusers.org. Open a browser window. Select USA using the drop-down list of countries. Tap the up arrow to sort the table by state. Scroll down to your state, tap the repeater's call sign to view the details, and make a note of the frequency information. For Boise, the nearest D-Star repeater is W7VOI. The UHF 70 centimeter frequency for this D-Star repeater is 444.350 megahertz. So, I'll stop scanning and tune directly to this frequency. Tap VFO to stop scanning. Tap VFO again and tune to 444.350.
You cannot buy. You can't buy. You have to pay the $3 million to buy the 3-room apartment. Very expensive. My place, Ulsan, is a countryside.
Ensure the display still indicates DV mode. If it doesn't, enable digital voice mode by long pressing DR. The display indicates CQCQCQ. Tap DR to exit the CQ screen. The display should indicate 444.350 DV. Now sit back and wait for some digital voice transmissions from your local D-Star repeater. As you can tell, I've got some traffic going on right now from my local D-Star repeater.
I was looking at your QRZ page as well, and you're a cyclist. If you go to my other QRZ page for ID-880H, you'll see a picture of me in an Ontario Cup bike race. That's our provincial race series here. So I used to mountain bikes and road bikes and really had a blast with it. It was certainly fun. And I still have the bikes. They're both titanium frames made by a company called Airborne. I just opened your another homepage, your B3DTH. Okay, you have another call sign here. I'm looking at your photo. You're enjoying the mountain biking. I like mountain cycling a lot. Actually,
Gateway repeater connection. To route or link our radio to distant areas or zones of D-Star digital voice communications, we need to connect to the Internet. One way of connecting the ID-880H transceiver to the Internet is by accessing a local D-Star repeater that has a gateway controller. I'll be configuring my radio to transmit a digital voice signal to my local D-Star repeater station, W7VOI. The repeater's gateway controller will then retransmit my signal out to the Internet, allowing stations near and far to receive my signal. Notice the frequency information. Port C, 2 meters, 145.500 megahertz, minus 0.6. And port B, 70 centimeters, 444.350 megahertz, plus 5. Notice that the gateway is enabled. This means the repeater ports are connected to the Internet, allowing connection to other D-Star networks. Finally, notice the gateway registration URL. This link will open this repeater's registration website, which can allow users to register their personal FCC-assigned call sign. Registration is free. Registration ensures that your call sign is automatically recognized by all D-Star repeaters and reflectors. This registration process allows my call sign to access the D-Star system anywhere in the world. Programming RPT1 and RPT2. For this first attempt to transmit on the D-Star system, I'm going to access the W7VOI D-Star repeater on the 70 centimeter band. So here's the critical data required to program my radio appropriately. W7VOI, the repeater's call sign. 444.350, the repeater's output frequency. +5, the repeater's duplex shift direction and offset. B node, Bravo node, the repeater's 70 centimeter port. And gateway enabled? Yes. Using these details, I can configure the D-Star call sign settings that are required to access into and retransmit out of my local D-Star repeater. I'll program to be KJ7PPX. RPT1, I'll set to W7VOI, a couple of spaces, and the letter B, Bravo, which is the frequency band I'll be tuning to. RPT2 I'll assign to W7VOI and a couple of spaces, and G, the gateway port. And UR I'll assign to CQCQCQ, which is the general call to anyone listening. Typically, G is always the single character command that directs the repeater to retransmit my signal out to an internet-connected gateway to other D-Star networks worldwide. Setting RPT2 to the gateway is the preferred port for RPT2. It makes for fewer changes to be necessary. The gateway port works whether I and my contact are using the same repeater or some other linked repeater or reflector network. Here's how to configure these call sign settings. First, I'll program RPT1 to access the 70 centimeter port of my local D-Star repeater. Tap Menu, dial to call S, it's already there for me, and tap MONI. Rotate the dial to RPT1 and tap MONI. The display indicates a blinking R1. Tap low to begin entering the repeater call sign. For me, that would be W. Tap low to advance to the next space. 7VOI. After entering the repeater's call sign, tap low 3 more times. Then enter B, Bravo, the 70 centimeter port node. The display indicates W7VOI. There's 2 spaces and then the letter B. Tap MONI to exit. It is essential that the port character B, Bravo, is placed in the final 8th position following the repeater's call sign. Next, program RPT2 to have the signal sent out of the repeater through the internet gateway port. Rotate the dial to RPT2 and tap MONI. The display indicates a blinking R2. Tap low to begin entering the repeater call sign. We do this just the same as before. W7 VOI. Tap low 3 more times to advance to that 8th position. Now enter the letter G, Golf, the Internet Gateway port node. And then tap MONI to exit. Again, it is essential that the gateway character G, Golf, is placed in the final 8th position following the repeater's call sign. Port G, Port Golf, allows the D-Star repeater to route the signal out through its gateway port, which uses the internet to connect to other D-Star repeater networks. This is how my signal can contact any amateur radio operator in the world. Next, program UR to have the repeater controller assign the D-star signal destination to any operator who may be listening. So dial to UR, tap MONI. The display indicates the default UR destination call sign of CQCQCQ. So we'll tap MONI to accept this. Tap Menu to exit programming mode. Now, ensure the repeater's output frequency and duplex shift direction and offset are automatically set. Should be 444.350 with a positive 5 offset. The ID-880H is usually able to automatically assign the appropriate duplex shift direction and offset. But let's ensure that. It is reading 44. I need to change my frequency here. Got my frequency set correctly. And I need to ensure the display indicates dupe. And it does. And it's dupe with no minus sign. So this is a positive duplex shift setting. That's what we need. Dupe means the shift direction is positive. A negative shift direction would have displayed as dupe minus. Here's how to confirm that the correct offset has been assigned to this frequency. Tap MONI and the squelch filter will be removed and we'll hear noise. The display shows 449.350, the repeater's input frequency. We'll tap MONI to re-enable the squelch. The display returns to 444.350, the repeater's output frequency. The shift from 444.350 to 449.350 is a positive offset of 5 megahertz. Now, ensure that the display indicates DV, digital voice mode. And it does. With the radio set up to access the D-Star system and the repeater's name and call sign programmed, we can attempt contact. I'll press the PTT to begin digital transmission of my voice to my local D-Star repeater. This is KJ7PPX calling CQCQCQ on repeater W7VOI using port Bravo. Release the PTT and the display will indicate the repeater's RPT2 call sign and frequency band designation, W7VOI G, Golf. DStarUser.org provides a live display of stations that have recently accessed this D-Star repeater. This is a helpful way of seeing if the attempt to access the repeater was successful. This shows that KJ7PPX successfully accessed W7VOI through port B, Bravo, using the 440 MHz band, 70 cm, on February 8, 2022 at 4:52 UTC, Universal Time Coordinated, or Zulu time. UTC is based upon the time zone in Greenwich, England. Boise, Idaho is in the Mountain Standard Time Zone, MST. To convert UTC to MST, I must count backwards 7 hours from UTC. This unique stations heard chart shows me that most of the operators using this D-Star repeater were accessing it sometime around 2000 to 2200 hours UTC, which would be around 1 to 3 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. There was one station heard at about 500 hours UTC, which would be about 10 o'clock p.m. MST. The column labeled Reporting Node identifies the repeater port that was accessed by the station. In this example, KJ7PPX, my call sign, accessed the D-Star repeater station W7VOI through its port Bravo, which uses the 440 MHz frequency band. While still in DV mode, let's confirm our current D-Star call sign settings. Tap CS to review the current call signs. The display indicates UR is assigned CQCQCQ. Dial to R1. W7VOI Bravo, dial to R2. W7VOI Golf, and dial to My. And there's my call sign, KJ7PPX. Tap CS to exit. These current call sign settings allow me to transmit a general call out to anyone listening. Without changing anything, I can also respond to someone calling CQCQCQ. For example, perhaps I receive station K6DUE identifying themselves over the D-Star system. Here's how I could respond. Allow a 4-second pause to make sure there's no other communication going on through this D-Star repeater. Press PTT and say, K6DUE, this is KJ7PPX, Milt from Boise, Idaho, over. Over, or back to you, is often used as a way of asking the other operator to respond or reply. Digital voice transmission signals are typically crystal clear, and there will be none of the static or noise to indicate when an operator has released their PTT. Signals received in DV mode are stored in a log which can be opened and selected. Tap Menu, dial to RxCal, Received Calls, and tap MONI. The most recently received call sign is displayed as log number 1. Up to 20 most recent call signs will be logged. Rotate the dial to select a call sign and tap MONI. Tap MONI repeatedly to view the details of the call. The selected call sign log will show 5 details. This is the caller. HL5BBD is the call sign of the originator. This is an optional label that's appended to the call sign. It can be any text. This caller chose to use his name as a label for the call sign. This is the destination call sign, the repeater accessed by the caller, and the outgoing port of the repeater used by the caller. Tap Menu to exit the call log. Notice how the RPT1 of my radio and the RPT1 call signs of the caller are assigned differently than my own RPT1 and RPT2 call signs. To reply to my transmission, the caller accessed first the gateway port of my repeater, then the repeater controller routed their signal out through the repeater's port Bravo. Immediately after a received call, the caller's call sign can be copied and temporarily assigned as my current UR. Long press CS. The caller's call sign is assigned as my current UR. Verify the current UR call sign and reply. Tap CS. The display indicates the caller's call sign is assigned. Tap CS to return to frequency screen. And then press the PTT to transmit and release to receive. The received call log can also be used to respond to previously received calls. Tap Menu, dial to RxCal, received calls, and tap MONI. Rotate the dial to select a call sign. This is going back in history. These later call signs were received previously. When you get one that you want to reply to or try to contact, long press MW to copy the received call log to the current call signs. Let's verify the current UR call sign. Tap CS. The call sign has been changed to KJ8D. Tap CS to return to the frequency screen. And then press PTT to transmit and release to receive. After the conversation with the caller, reset the current UR call sign. Long press DR. Dial to CQCQCQ. Tap DR to exit. Additional UR call signs. The destination UR call sign is typically the call sign of a specific station or operator to whom I'm attempting to contact. If I'm attempting to contact anyone who may be listening, the UR call sign will be CQCQCQ. If another operator desires to specifically contact me, their UR call sign would be set to KJ7PPX. However, the destination UR call sign can also be in the form of a command directing the D-star repeater controller to perform a specific function. The UR call sign can be assigned to one of 4 single-character commands. I, information only. E, echo test. U, unlink the connection. L, link to another D-star repeater or reflector. These UR call sign command characters must be placed in and only in the 8th character position of the UR call sign. For example, let's program the character I as an option for the UR call sign selection. Tap Menu, dial to Call S, and tap MONI. Dial to UR if you need to, it's already there for me, and tap MONI. The display indicates CQCQCQ and a blinking UR. Dial clockwise to U dash dash. U dash dash indicates an unavailable UR memory channel. The CQCQCQ UR call sign cannot be deleted or changed. Continue to dial clockwise to U01. This is the first available UR channel number. Tap low. Now tap low 7 times to reach the end, and this is the 8th position, and dial to I. Tap MONI. The display beeps twice. You didn't hear it. I have the volume down because there's traffic going on right now. And tap Menu to exit. Next, let's assign that character, that UR call sign of I, as our current UR call sign. Long press DR to enter the UR call sign selection mode. Dial to I and tap DR to select and exit. Now let's verify that I is now assigned as our current UR call sign. Tap CS. There's UR showing us I is the character. Tap CS to exit. I'm going to transmit the command for information just by pressing the PTT. It transmits the character I.
Remote system linked.
The audible message says remote system linked, and the display shows what it's linked to. That's a reflector. So that's a way of finding out what is the status or the link status of the D-star repeater. Just by changing the UR call sign to the letter I and then transmitting, you don't even have to say anything, just transmit that UR. That's a command to the repeater to come back with the status of that repeater. Assigning E as the UR call sign directs the repeater to perform an echo test. So let's program E as an option for the UR call sign. Tap Menu, dial the call S, and tap MONI. Dial the UR, tap MONI. The display indicates the most recently assigned UR call sign and a blinking UR. That letter I was there only briefly. If I dial off and then go back to that, there's the letter I, just briefly. This time let's dial clockwise to the next available UR channel number, U02. Tap low. Again, tap low repeatedly or hold down to go to that last 8th position and dial to the letter E. Tap MONI. The display beeps twice. Tap Menu to exit. So let's assign E as the current UR call sign. Long press DR to enter the UR call sign selection mode. The display indicates the most recently assigned UR call sign. Dial to E and tap DR to select and exit. Let's verify the UR call sign. Tap CS. UR is now assigned to the letter E. Tap CS again. To transmit an echo test, I'll press the PTT, I'll give a short message, and then I'll release the PTT. This is KJ7PPX performing an echo test on D-star repeater W7VOI Bravo.
This is KJ7PPX performing an echo test on D-star repeater W7VOI Bravo.
The echo test receives and then retransmits that digital voice signal, confirming successful connection with the D-star repeater. Here is how to edit or delete UR call signs that you've saved to memory. First, ensure that the call sign you need to edit or delete is not assigned as the current call sign. So let's say that we want to delete that E command. Long press DR. We want to delete that, so I can't have it chosen as the current UR. So I'm going to choose the old standby CQCQCQ. Tap DR to exit. Now I can select E to edit or delete. So tap Menu, dial to call S, tap MONI. Dial to UR, it's already there, tap MONI. The display indicates the currently assigned CQ or UR call sign. Let's dial to the one that I want to edit or delete. To delete that entire call sign, long press DR. The display beeps and indicates a blinking UR channel number. Tap MONI to confirm that deletion, and tap Menu to exit. Now, to edit a call sign, let's go back to the letter I and let's edit it. Or go to Menu, call S, MONI, UR, MONI, dial to I. Tap Low to begin editing this call sign. I can use the dial to change to a different letter. I can move the cursor left or right using CS or low. I can tap DR to delete that. I could go clear to the beginning and start creating a new UR call sign. And when finished editing, tap MONI and tap Menu to exit. The I and E commands, information and echo, are heard locally only. They do not get retransmitted out through the G gateway port, and thus do not get retransmitted to another area or zone of linked D-star repeaters. There are two other UR command call signs, L for link, U for unlink. There are special requirements and procedures for linking and unlinking D-star repeater systems. We'll look at how to do that in the next episode. For now, 73. This has been how to program and operate the Icom ID-880H amateur radio transceiver. Thank you for watching, for liking, and for subscribing to my channel at youtube.com/Milt Reynolds. I'm Milt Reynolds, KJ7PPX in Boise, Idaho, and I'll be clear on your final. 73.